Hey, how's it going, everybody? Time for the flight stream. Farcom flight. Gonna be going over some strategies for flight. Gonna go for Farcom. Hey, Plexion, Sockfish, Nebby, hello, hello. This is gonna be a stream that's kind of a guide. It's gonna be for intermediate-ish types of players, primarily. So if you maybe have no wins or a couple wins under your belt, hopefully this can help a lot for your flight runs. But if you've got lots of experience too, hopefully you can have some fun hanging out and maybe learn something too. So, before we start the run, we're going to go over some tips. Kind of a big mess of things that I wanted to talk about before going into the run. So, first thing we're going to want to do is start on legs and treads. Just kind of run through materials, visit mines, visit exiles, and then when we hit factory, that's when we want to swap over to flight. That's the best place to do so. Factory's a lot less cramped, much better to stealth around in. Materials, there's just too many patrols that are all over the place. You're going to get your flight units all shot up pretty early on. It's not so great, but in factory it's great. So the goal for this stream is we want to get to access with minimal branches. Caves are great, but they're not needed to win by any means. If you haven't fully explored all of the caves and all the different side branches, those are great, but we're not going to be going into all of those this stream. So when you get to access, you want to take the surface exit. That's what I'm going to do. And get a W0, which is just a basic win. Take the primary exit. And then we'll win, yeah. And so this run's going to be minimal spoilers. I won't be using any secret hacks, or I will try not to go into any of the spoiler branches or anything. Yeah, he has slides. I do have slides. Just got a bunch of stuff to prepare for. Hey, 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 there's K-Tour. How's it going? Alright, so I'm going to go into the general flight strategy section. So primarily prototype flight units. This is a huge deal that is not so obvious at first, but you really want to use those prototype flight units over the basic flight units, just for a variety of reasons. I'm going to switch into the Cogminder here real quick and do some demonstrations of why that is. So let's pull up a VTOL module, just a standard rating 2 part versus the improved flight unit prototype flight. So this is a 2 prototype, but you can see that it's got half of the coverage, 30 versus 15, and 25 versus 40 integrity. This thing is like 3.5 to 4 times more durable than the VTOL module. And when you're getting shot at, the last thing you want to lose is your flight units. It'll slow you down, make you go overweight. That's the worst possible outcome. You do not want to go overweight on flight. That's the biggest way to die. But if you have the prototype flight units, they're just so much more durable. And they've got other bonuses too. Like this is a little bit slower, but it's got extra support. Prototype flight units are such a huge just advantage over the basic flight units. Hey, Captain Winky, Captain Croissant Witch, Bulbous Bullfrog. Yeah, hello everybody. Compared to a regular Q thruster, that's a good idea too. This is a basic Q thruster, a rating 8 flight unit. You don't find this until way late in the game in research. You find this flight unit in materials. This thing, it's got 40 integrity, same amount, but it's still got twice the coverage. It's got 3 times the energy upkeep. It's got 3 times the heat generation. Same time per move. It's got 3 more support. That's the only thing it's got going for it. Everything else is just absolutely way worse. So throughout the whole game, this is one of the best flight units, funnily enough. A lot of the later flight units are not as good as the early materials prototype flight units and early factory prototype flight units because the energy is just so low and the heat is low. When you stack a bunch of these guys, you're going to be burning energy, you're going to be generating a bunch of heat. It's hard to fly on them. But these guys, you can stack up large amounts and not have that bad of an upkeep. And this is just kind of a trend that continues throughout all the prototype flight units. The other thing that's good though, so here's the one non-prototype flight unit that you want to use. The arrays, nuclear pulse array, field propulsion array, and the, what is it? It's another impulse, I think impulse thruster array, yeah. So these guys are not as durable as the prototype flight units, but they're a lot stronger. They've got a lot better integrity than the basic flight units, and they've got a lot of support and generally a low upkeep. So these guys are good to mix in sometimes. They generally will lower your upkeep and give you a decent amount of support. So I usually like to have maybe one flight array late in the game and have mostly these kinds of prototype smaller one slot flight units. So what else? We've got use InfoWar, dig to avoid getting spotted. This is one of the essential stealth tactics. You want to avoid fighting whenever possible. If you can dig to avoid enemies, then that's an easy way to not have to take any hits. And there's a lot of InfoWar here. I'll just go over some of these pretty quickly. But you can use all of these devices and processors to determine where the enemies are and where the land is, where the rooms are, dig from room to room without having to go out into hallways with a bunch of squads. So start with sensors / Farcom. Sensor array, pretty basic part, shows you where robots are. You need a signal interpreter to decipher what the actual bots are and tells you where the bots are. So you want to be where the bots are not. That's it. Farcom tells you where the or it only tells you where the hostile bots are. It doesn't show you where the non-hostile bots are, which sensors do, which is one disadvantage, but Farcom doesn't take up a slot. We'll go more into that later. Diving into branches also apply to DSF maps. I may go into DSF later. I'll talk about that when we get into factory and research. DSFs are good to go into sometimes. They can be a little bit risky if you don't know what to expect. But yeah, I'll go into some of that later. Hopefully I can go in one. It'd be nice to show off. We've got ECM suites. ECM suite is kind of an expensive part energy wise. Advanced one takes up 20 energy, but what it does do is it allows you to lose tracking bots, and it prevents the increase in alert that you get from bots forgetting you. Normally you'll get 15 alert every time a hostile bot spots you and then forgets you, and that can cause search patrols when you get spotted and forgotten too many times. And those are just ARCs that will wander around the room, or wander around the complex randomly, just looking for you. They're not too bad, but they can get quite annoying on smaller maps. But if you use the ECM suite, you can lose pursuers very quickly, and you don't have to worry about search patrols either. Hey, Crackle. Structural scanner next. This guy's great. This shows you basically it's a one tile terrain scan for all tiles that you see. So it shows you the next tile behind the wall. This is one of the best tools for locating safe digs that you can do to avoid getting spotted. It also shows you hidden doorways, so the emergency accesses, and cave-ins that will or unstable tiles that will cave in soon. This actually allows you to dig with explosives without having to worry about cave-ins. Hey Ducks, how's it going? Transmission jammer. Transmission jammer, also one of the best parts in the game for blocking watchers and just in general from preventing enemies from communicating with each other. If you got a watcher around and there's a bunch of enemies nearby, just run past them with this or kill them with this, and then they won't alert anybody. Also good for alarm traps. And visual processor. So a bunch of these, they just increase your visual range. This is really good later on in the run when watchers have a higher vision than your sensors will be. So even on Farcom, you have an 18 tile radius, but watchers have a 20 tile vision. So they can spot you before you detect them on sensors. But if you've got one of these visual processors, then you can see them first. Cloaking device kind of works the opposite of the visual processor. You can't get spotted in the range. You decrease the chance to, or decrease their vision radius. These things are kind of expensive, but they can be really nice to sneak past an area that there's just bots guarding that are just barely at range. Machine analyzer. This thing hopefully we'll get, because this is a really cool processor to see in action. It shows you where nearby machines are. You can basically tell a lot of the room layouts with one of these things, because it'll show you where the machines are within a room, and without you even going in the room, you can kind of tell how that room looks with this. It's also really good for jumping from terminal to terminal, which is often what you want to do to find the exits quickly. Seismic detector. This thing's a little more niche. Shows you where robots are that are moving on the ground and where certain machines are that are making seismic activity. So this is kind of a weird hybrid type of InfoWar device. It's not as good as sensors because it only shows you moving bots and it won't show you flying bots. Like swarmers or programmers, it won't show you. And it won't show you sentries that are standing still. But it'll show you all of the other squads that are roaming around. and it also has kind of the terrain scanning type of effect that machine analyzers have, where it'll show you sometimes the room layouts just from the machines. Hey, intro Brett. Love saying my name. Oh yeah, 22 range on seismic. Yeah, this is a neat advantage here is the 22 range is actually the longest range sensor in the game, I believe. So that's kind of a cool niche. And then the other thing I guess that this shows you is it shows hunters that are too too high tier for the sensors to show. So hunters have a minimum tier of signal interpreter that they require to see on a normal sensor. We're going to do Farcom, so we don't need anything, but we can tell. I mean, if you're using a regular sensor, you can only detect these guys if you have an experimental signal interpreter. These guys start showing up in -2 research, the top tier hunter, and it's really awful to turn a corner and get spotted by a couple of these terminators. They're very strong. With Farcom, you don't have to worry about that, but with seismic detector, you can tell where these guys are, even if you can't tell exactly what they are, because the seismic detector doesn't show exactly what the bot is. Yeah, rip the 30 tile experimental sensor array. Yeah, that was a little bit broken. Melee swarmers. Yeah, they just get stuck. You chop all those parts off, they just are stuck as a turret now for the rest of their lives. And then the other thing I wanted to go into is the mediocre Infowar is things that are not super great to do on flight, in my opinion. So the OB10 decoder chips, these things are kind of cool because they give you a bunch of miscellaneous intel, like shows you traps, parts on the ground, exits, hidden doorways, interactive machines, patrols, security positions, and then there's some of these that are more specific than the general one. General one kind of shows you everything. Looter shows you only parts on the ground. Scout shows you exits and traps. But these things are just way too slow for flight. You don't want to sit around. It's basically, you don't want to sit on flight and wait for your infowar to tell you things. You want to be actively moving and gathering intel yourself. So these kinds of things are great on treads or something where you are moving pretty slow. You're going to get a lot of chances for these to activate. But on flight, you're just going to move so quickly that you don't get a reasonable chance for them to go off. And that's going to be a common factor for all of these bits of mediocre infowar. Drone bays. Drone bays are pretty similar, where if you look at the default drone, this guy's got a movement speed of 56. On flight, the slowest flight unit is 45, and most of them are 40 or 35, or even faster. So most of the time, you're going to be moving at half the speed of this guy, or I guess twice as fast as him. So why sit around and wait for a drone to explore when you can just explore yourself? Now these things have some niche advanced usage where if you deploy a drone and it gets spotted by a programmer and you keep running away from it, it'll waste some turns and the programmer will actually lose tracking on you. I guess no, the programmer doesn't lose tracking on you unless it sees you. But if you pop an ARC with this, an assault or a search squad, they won't be able to track you. They'll just follow the drone. But they're kind of generally just too slow. Some of these more advanced types of drones may have more use. Like the thief drone's kind of a a good one, but that's a mines event drone bay, not something you can just get all the time. And terrain scanning, same thing. Terrain scanning, just too slow. You've got to have the terrain scanner, and you've got to have the processor, and even with a couple of processors stacked up, it's not amazing. If you get the experimental processor, this is when you can actually use it, because this just is a huge multiplier, 1000 versus one of these is only 200. So you basically need 5 of these to be worth one of these. This is pretty late in the game, minus rating 7 prototype. So you'll only really see this in like late factory and research. But if you get one of these, terrain scanning is pretty good. Or you can fab it as well. Utility demand for terrain scanning is also a reasonable argument. It takes up 2 more slots. A structural scanner gives you quite a bit of the same information, and it's instantaneous. And a structural scanner can even show you 1 tile wide hidden doorways, and a terrain scanner won't show you them. So that's one nice advantage. Oh yeah, I'll link you the Cogminder here. I'll post this link on the video too. Yeah, I think you can make room for it if you find the experimental terrain scan processor. I think it's worth fitting it on your build, but I've had speed runs where I put on like a terrain scanner and 4 or 5 terrain scan processors because it's useful if you stack them super high, but if you've got your slots filled with other useful things, not as great. Yeah, minor spoilery terrain scan processor. Yeah, there's an Uber terrain scan processor that's a hidden branch reward. If you get that one, you would definitely want to use that too, even on flight. But we won't go too much into detail there. Yeah, experimental processor is still good. Yeah, I think that the experimental processor is the make or break for terrain scanning on flight most of the time. Alright, I think that's all the info war. Let's keep going. So this is another important thing for flight. You want to use the light and the micro engines because the the basic engines are just too heavy. So let's take a look here. Let's go. In the early and mid game, it's not as big of a deal. So like if you look at the rating 4 parts, this is what you'd get going straight into factory. So micro nuclear core. This is a 6 mass for 10 energy, and the basic engine is 10 mass for 11 energy. It's 4 more mass. That's not the end of the world. You can wear one of these. It's not great, but you'd really prefer a light engine. Oh yeah, backup 7. The backup engines are extremely mass efficient. This is not great, a 3, but if you get the backup power 7, this one you can get from a level 3 repair station, where if you choose the refit option and you have a power slot or 2 power slots active, it'll put up to 2 of these guys on your body. And these are 12 supply for only 4 mass. So these are very efficient. And if you look at the later engines, like a micro antimatter reactor, this guy's a rating 8 mass for 14 supply. But if you look at the other rating 8 engines, like look at this thing, 18 for 18. This thing is 10 less mass for only 4 less energy. This thing is horrible. You never want to have to equip something like this because it's just so inefficient. This is going to take up half your mass support just for this one engine. And even the light reactors at this stage in the game are not that much better. Like 14 mass is still just way too much. Yeah, light quantum is anything but light. This thing's 15 mass as opposed to 20. When you get to the end of the game, these guys are what you are after. They're micro antimatter reactors. And yeah, Dux, you were talking about the fusion compressor. These guys are a little bit hard to use sometimes because they cost matter, but the supply is unmatched for these engines. It has a high heat and it costs matter constantly, so you have to be killing green bots all the time. But if you can manage that, you get the best mass per supply in the game. These things are kind of hard to use because you need a lot of cooling for them, and they're still kind of high coverage. They can get shot off, and the matter kind of sucks. But it's okay to use these. Yeah, energy output per mass would be nice. Maybe someday. Long range tractor beam for that. No, you just have to create your own matter. You have to go and kill recyclers all the time, is what you have to do if you get one of these. Next is hackware and terminals to access main or access branch ASAP. The most important thing to do on a new map is figure out where you're going. You gotta find an exit that you want to hit and you want to go to it. Because if you run into a bad situation and you're just running around aimlessly hoping to find something to save you, that's where you can start to spiral into losing parts because you run into patrol, you'd run into another patrol, and then you get your flight units blasted off by a heavy, or you get cutters on you and they chop all your parts off, and it's just not good. You want to ideally find the exit, go to that exit, figure out what the layout is like around that exit, and then if you want to, you can explore around that area because you know you've got to your exit pretty close and you're going to be safe if you're nearby it. Avoid heavies. Cutters can be run endings. Let's go over cutters. Cutters are some of the scariest spots in the game for flight. If you run by a heavy, it can call these cutter reinforcements depending on the depth. There's 3 different tiers. These guys are the scariest bots in the game. They're 19 speed by default, and they can go down to 7 speed when they overload. You are never outrunning these guys. Your only options are to exit the map or to nuke them, and often you have to nuke yourself. A graphene brace is really good because what these guys will do is they will sever off all of your parts. They will sever your armor, they will sever your engines, they will sever your flight units, and you have to waste time picking them up off the ground. And every time you reattach them, they will cut it right off immediately. Graphene brace is a high rating part, but it negates critical strikes, so it means that the sever doesn't go through. So they can hit you all they want. It'll be a little bit annoying to be having them hit you all the time, but it's not like the end of the world. Disable prop to be slow near heavy. Yeah, and bait into deploying specialist is a good technique you can do. It doesn't always work. Flight should be able to find an alternate route. I agree, Captain Winky. Sometimes you kind of have to do this, or you really want to do this to be safe, as opposed to running into cutters. Cogmind can go down to 5 speed with cooled overloaded prop, but it's not super easy to do. If you overload that many flight units, you're going to be gaining a million heat and burning a million energy, and it's going to burn all of your prop out from the overload penalty. So, oh, and the other thing I should mention about heavies, I have this one, is you can tell when they see you because they will pop up with where is this? The active sensor suite. This guy is a very long range sensor that will show you where they are, and if you stay in the range too long, then they'll report you. So you just kind of want to stay out of their radius, 20 tile radius. I'm sure we will be seeing these guys in the run. Sometimes better to get spotted to lure enemies out of position. This is a strat that I'll be using a couple of times, but no, Ducks, I won't be doing any spoiler type of aspects of the run. It's going to be as minimal spoilers as possible. So what can happen is let's say there's a squad of enemies that's hanging out in a corridor, and you really want to get by them, but you don't want to get shot a bunch of times by running by them. So what you can do is you can run by them, get spotted once, and then duck into a room. And let's say there's a big machine in the center of the room, you can run around the machine and they'll chase after you. But what you can do is you can kind of juke them once they're in the room following you around the machine. Since you're way faster, you can circle back on the other side of the machine and then run by without them shooting you more than once or twice, ideally. I'll be showing some examples of this, I'm sure. Yeah, appreciate the spoiler minimal. Yeah, I don't want to go too much into any kind of spoiler type of content for this run. It's really cool to experience a lot of this stuff on your own for the first time. So, yeah, I don't want to go too much into that just to help get a win zero. Hopefully, once people have more experience, with the game and have some better gameplay when they're still learning how to play, they can use that skill to explore some of the other branches that they may not have been able to before. So that's what I did when I was learning the game. When I started playing Flight, I learned how to play Flight, and then that let me explore all the cool secret areas in the game, get a bunch of cool spoiler interactions. Yeah, watching me play. Well, my stream last night was way more of a spoiler type of run. This one will not be doing any of that craziness. So killing exterminations. When you reach factory, you get programmers sent after you. They've got perfect tracking on you, so they'll always follow you. I meant to have the chat on top of this. Anyway, these guys will follow you forever until either they spot you or you kill them or you exit the map or whatever. But if you get spotted and then run away, they will no longer have the perfect tracking on you. So these guys have a memory, and the memory is how many actions they can perform while still having tracking on your location. So once they see you, they can basically follow you for 80 tiles, and then they will forget where you are. If you use an ECM suite, so let's say a basic ECM suite cuts this in half to only 40 tiles that they'll follow you for. So these guys kind of follow you forever, so the ECM suite really helps in that scenario. Then you can just lose these guys and just don't run into them again. These guys are pretty weak though. The P60 hackers, the base -7, -6 programmer, you can kill these guys in one hit with pretty much any melee weapon. But these ones, a little bit tougher, at -5 and -4, they send 1 to 2 of these. When you get 2 of these, maybe you don't want to fight them. And these guys in research and access, there's always 2 to 3 of them. And you're not going to one-shot these very easily, and there's going to be a bunch of them wailing on you at the same time. So at this point, hopefully you're kitted out enough where you can get off the map or avoid them in some way, and just not have to face them head on. If you recall exterminations, then that sends them back where they came. They'll just exit the level. That's the other best way to get rid of them. Void Watchers if enemies are nearby. Transmission Jammer is one of the best pieces of InfoWar in the game for this reason. Later in the game, the patrols get really dense, and if you get a Watcher calling a whole bunch of guys on you, it can be a pretty bad situation, especially when there's more programmers and hunters hanging around that will follow you for a long time. They're not very fun to fight. But if you use a transmission jammer and all of those guys are in a room, then the Watcher won't be able to alert them and just kill the Watcher. And speaking of running past too many enemies, the search patrols that I mentioned earlier just roam around the map. They're not the worst thing in the world, but if you can avoid getting them, then you should. Loading up to max mass can be dangerous. So if you are at 25 out of 25 mass and you're running from some bots, you get one of those flight units shot off. You're now at 25 out of 20 mass. So you've got a couple options. You can either shoot the guys to get rid of them from following you. You can put on another flight unit, or you can drop some equipped items or something to get underweight if you don't have a backup flight unit. None of those are super appealing depending on the situation. If you were at 20 out of 25 mass in the first place, you get your flight unit shot off. You're a little bit slower, but you're still underweight. That 20 out of 20 means you're going to be going at full speed instead of going at like 3 or 4 times slower than you would be. So that's kind of a safety buffer. That's a good idea to not load up to max support. If you're going to be greedy, now you can always be greedy, go for max 25 out of 25 and just hope you don't lose anything important. But if you want to play it safer, if you have a little bonus mass support that you can afford to lose a flight unit, that's always ideal. And this helps with stasis traps. Stasis traps, super annoying. If you get caught in a stasis trap and don't have any spare mass support, it's going to take you 20 turns to escape the stasis trap. Always be greedy, MTF. Yeah. I don't know about always be greedy. Always be greedy means always lose to stasis traps. If you're going to take 20 turns to get out of a stasis trap and you get a bunch of guys shooting at you, it's not going to be very fun. But if you've got, let's say if you've got 10 support free, it's only going to take you 10 turns. So how it works is that there's 100 stasis count, and every mass support over 5 that you have that's free will count towards your escape. And you can also overload cooled flight units to escape this easier. And you can drop armor or something to get lower underweight. So if you overload a bunch and then you get to 20 free support, then you're going to only take 5 turns to get out. So that can be really important. Ambush traps bonking off your most important utilities. Yeah, you don't want to step on an ambush trap. That's all I can say to that. Oh, you know what? I forgot one piece of intel on my mediocre InfoWar list. Let's go over that right now. Trap scanners. These guys are bad for the exact same reason that all the other mediocre flight info war pieces are. They're too slow. You get only an 8% chance per turn. This one's the advanced trap scanner. This one's not the worst thing in the world, but it's the problem is that a lot of the times you will hit a trap immediately after entering or exiting a room, or there's a trap array that you immediately, again, you step out of a room and just walk right into it, and you don't have any time to even detect any traps. So this thing just doesn't fire frequently enough for you to gain any kind of real information from it. You're still going to step on traps, probably almost as many traps with this as you would with no trap scanner. Trap scanner isn't even good on treads. Yeah, it's a niche thing for sure. Operator buddies. Stasis Canceller, I think I have it mentioned later. I don't have it mentioned here, but let's even go over that right now. Stasis Canceller is the easy way to not have to worry about stasis traps. You put on this guy, you are instantly freed of the stasis trap. It has a high coverage, so you don't want to be wearing this a lot, but if you do get caught, you can just swap this on and instantly be free. This is a pretty nice part to keep in your inventory. Partial spots to lure sentries out of position. So a partial spot is a mechanic where you fly by a sentry and you're in the visual range, but it doesn't have its turn to spot you. So what this means is that every 100 time units, which is once a turn, the community uses the phrase time units as dividing up a turn because you're often moving faster than a single turn. So 100 time units once a turn is when the sentry will check for bots that it detects. If you run by it and it doesn't hit that 100 turn, that 100 TUs moment, then what'll happen is it'll say like, oh, I think I saw something, and it'll come and check it out. It'll walk into the room, or it'll go to the spot that it saw you, and kind of look around for a couple tiles, and then it'll go back to the spot that it was at before. But what this means is that the faster you are, the lower chance it has to actually detect you, and the higher chance that you'll get a partial spot. And it's very easy to lure these guys out of position with a partial spot, and then you can just fly straight past the area that they were guarding without getting hit once. Yeah, the Stasis Canceller did get buffed in Beta 11, I think. It used to be absolutely abysmal. You'd never put this part on, but now it is a very cool niche part, but it's still very effective in the cases that you want it. If you're going into DSF, Stasis Canceller is really good because DSFs have a lot of stasis traps, and you don't want to step in those. So, overload, cooled flight units use evasion to avoid hits if you do have to run by enemies and you do have to get shot at. Cooled propulsion can be overloaded to run faster, gives you more mass support, but it burns out your prop a little bit. It causes a bit of damage, and it has a much higher energy and heat cost. And then the evasion is primarily a phase shifter is the easiest way to gain avoidance, but they're very expensive to use. Like this guy gives you 15% avoidance, but it costs 15 energy. More realistically, you'll use one of these reaction control systems. This guy's almost as good. Gives you 12% for only 3 energy. This is a lot more reasonable. They have very high coverage, but if you've got to run by a bunch of guys, it's a good idea to use these if you absolutely have to. Yeah, most instances that players think they have to run past, they probably don't. I agree. This is something that is kind of a game sense type of thing where just because you see a bunch of guys blocking the way, you don't necessarily need to run past them and get shot. There's often alternate ways to get around. You can dig, or you can lure them, or sometimes you can just find a hidden route or go a different way on the map. You have a lot of options for avoiding enemies. Hey, Daniel Crash, scared of digging after losing my build to cave-ins. So there are two ways to dig. You can dig safely, and you can Luigi dig. Luigi is a community member of Cogmind, very much famous for his reckless digging. He loves digging. You can dig up to 3 tiles safely, but only with a ranged weapon. If you're using melee, you can only dig through 1 tile safely. Because if you try to use a melee weapon in a tile that's already been dug out, you have a chance to immediately cave in, and it will destabilize the tile, which means it will always cave in eventually. So if you've got a 1 tile, you can always dig. 2 tiles, it's a little bit risky, but if you use a ranged weapon, so let's say a thermal cannon or a kinetic cannon, or even a launcher, you can run by those 2 tiles or even 3 tiles at most. A, a thermal cannon is ideal for digging later in the game. Launchers are a little bit funny for digging because they can destabilize tiles. However, if you have a structural scanner, it will tell you what tiles are destabilized. So it's actually safe to dig with a launcher with a structural scanner because it'll show you where you can walk. I will probably show this off later. Yeah, Luigi Dig he's a big meme. He loves the digging. Everybody loves his digs. Yeah, tile destabilization occurs when a launcher hits a tile. It will sometimes be destabilized, and when a bot or anybody shoots from a tile that's dug out, it will become destabilized and it'll eventually collapse. But launcher tiles only sometimes collapse. It's explosive launchers, explosive damage, and not any type of launchers. Yeah, the structural scanner shows the destabilized tiles. Information about in the manual? I don't know. I'm curious about that. Let's take a look. Looks like no. This is just a mechanic you have to learn by yourself. Launcher is safer dig than a pickaxe. Yeah. Explodable machines getting destabilized. That's a little bit different, but it's similar. If you get if a machine with a destabilization percent gets hit with any attack, there's always a chance that it will destabilize and explode in a few turns, even if you didn't do enough damage to immediately explode it. Mining lasers. Oh, we love the mining lasers. Those can dig only really in materials. That's a ranged dig that you can do safely, but you can't dig, like I said, you can't dig in an already dug out tile. Alright, we're almost at the end here. We can almost begin the run. Shut down garrisons to reduce extermination squad frequency. So this is a mechanic. This is kind of a spoilery type of mechanic, but this is very important for flight. When you shut down or otherwise destroy garrisons in any fashion, the exterminations will come slower. They will. I don't know the exact number, but there's a certain delay basically that, like, let's say if there was an extermination coming at 400 turns after you enter the level, like maybe it won't show up for another 150 turns, not till 550 or something, and that affects every further extermination. So you can hang around a lot longer from closing these garrisons. Yeah, run hasn't started yet, MTF. I know. This is your favorite type of run, the one where we sit around talking all day and never actually do the run. 100 turns per garrison closed. I don't know if that's a number that's necessarily true. That may be the case, but I haven't measured it. I would like to do that at some point, but I don't have the number on hand. Yeah, typical MTF run then. Yeah, we can just, you know, we can just sit here in the scrap yard, junkyard, whatever. Just sit here all day, talk about Cogmind things, hang out with the recycler and the tunnelers. Yeah, taking the sites to the junk piles. Okay. Unauthorized terminal hacks to help hack chance and gain operator friends. So this is minor early game spoilers. I will not go into the specific hacks, but there are two good, they're called Trojans, which is unauthorized hacks. But you have to know the command. You find them pretty early on in one of the caves branches. I won't go into the exact mechanics, but if you know what they are, you should know that the operator friend hack is one of the best hacks in the game. If you know about that, you can use it. If you don't know about it, you can look it up on the Cogminder if you want to get a little bit of spoiler intel. Go to the hacks page and turn on spoilers to find that one. Yeah, MTF doesn't like that one. No, Ducks, I didn't finish my other run. I just put that one on hold for this stream. I will finish my other run. I'm planning on doing that tomorrow. Alright, last little bit here. Flight transition checklist. So here are a general list of parts that I would like to gather for most any run. At least 5 flight units, ideally prototype. You want to get imp flight units, improved flight units, and improved CCM IM flight units. You can find those on -9 and -8 materials from haulers. Those are really good flight units. A light ion, deuterium, or nuclear core. Those are just light flight power units that are going to power your build. You find those pretty easily. A melee weapon for killing green bots and watchers and digging. Axe, scythe, katana. Impact is better at killing haulers and other green bots, but you don't get any loot because it gets all corrupted. The slashing and piercing weapons are better at killing bots and getting the loot. Yeah, I'm trying to do not too many spoilers. Don't want to go into many explicit details on those. Light armor, improved light armor is best. This is a 3 mass armor that is something that you probably keep for the whole game. Like this thing I will wear from -7 to -1 in like 90% of my flight runs. This thing's just too good. You can repair it pretty easily too. A lot of integrity, 180. Yeah, the flight crutch. Okay, 2+ hackware. Ideally, hacking suites. You can kill operators for these in early materials, and you just also find them on the floor. Explosive launcher is good because at early depths, it is kind of hard to outrun swarmers, so it's often better to kill them directly. Swarmer is just kind of annoying in general for flight. Launcher is a good way to take care of those. Low mass kinetic gun. These things are kind of funny, but you can use your second weapon slot as kind of flight armor, weapon armor. because they have a pretty decent coverage and they're low mass. So it's just a little bit of extra coverage to protect your important parts. Now for optional parts, a small storage unit. I usually don't carry these small storage units, just I don't find it worthwhile. It's 5 mass and it only gives you 3 storage as opposed to the 5 that you start. So it is 5 versus 8, but you have to give up a utility slot to carry it anyway. So it's basically you're giving up a utility slot that could be hackware or some other kind of info war that would help you avoid situations where you might need the more backups in your inventory. A visual processor, those are just nice to have in general. Like I mentioned earlier, they're good for seeing watchers before they see you and just see the layout of the map around you. And the structural scanner, this is a super easy to find part. You can always loot these off of engineers, so you don't really need to go out of your way to gather these. You can always find these. Yeah, Cogmind does need glasses. Alright, it's time for the run. The run finally begins, only an hour in. So we've got a bit of a plan summary in the corner here. So we got our evolve lined up. We've got terminal hacks. We want to grab bot analyses because we can kill these bots more efficiently with an analysis. It gives you a bit of a bonus to accuracy and damage. We also want hauler manifests to see what the haulers are carrying. If there's prototype flight units, we want to pick those up. Those only start appearing on -9 though. And the prototypes hack just lets us identify prototypes. That's not a big deal. It's just something you can do. And parts on the ground. Yeah, I don't often get analyses. I just don't go out of my way for them a lot of the time, but there's nothing wrong with getting them. It's a good idea in materials because it allows you to reduce your attrition. You can kill things quicker. Analyses do carry over to other floors, but eventually they will get outdated because the bots get upgraded and then they will not, like, they just won't have any bots of that particular tier anymore. When you get analysis, you only get a particular tier of bot, not all of them. Yeah, prototype flight can appear in the out of depths materials cache on -10, but they won't appear in haulers. And then off the ground, we want armor, hackware, launchers, a big storage unit, and treads. So let's get into it. Oh, right off the bat. That's beautiful. We got one of the best early game weapons. These improved light cannons are great. We're just gonna ditch these legs immediately. Pick a bunch of these guys up. Get a flail. This is okay, I guess. Yeah, you do not have to play materials to go flight. I often drop most of my parts. I go prop hover to get to factory as quickly as possible, and I just scavenge what I need from there. I would not recommend this strategy for new players because you don't have very much when you go up, but it's very possible to do, I'll say. Let me get my other cannon on. Light armor plating, perfect. We're gonna drop these wheels. We'll never be using those. Come on, buddy. Ow. Alright. This is, I'm not gonna put this one on yet, but this is really nice for later. Love the huge storage. What does knowledge of prototype IDs give? It allows you to identify the prototype parts on the ground instead of you having to equip them and them potentially being faulty. So this hauler we want to shoot with the gun and not the cannons because that will allow us to get the loot that we want. About to run into these guys. Same thing, yeah, there we go. Same thing in general, if you want any loot from bots, you know, these things are -5 salvage, you don't want to use these if you care about the parts. These are really good at killing all of the grunts. This operator might have some hackware for us. If he would stand still, just allow himself to be shot. Where did he go? Oh, more swarmers. Alright, let's see if I can one-shot this guy. Yeah, there we go. That's what we like to see. One more tread. How slow am I? 320. That's not great. I kind of want this extra though. Extra tread. Yeah, kinetic cannons have the negative salvage is the main thing. You don't want to be using these guys. -5 salvage. So if you want to think about it, as every time you hit a bot with this, it gives a -5% chance to drop every part. We've got some backups. Did you drop the machine analyzer? No. Ugh. Come on, guys. Did I blast his prop off? Yeah. Goodbye. I can't go this way. Would like a less ridiculous storage unit at this point. So let's go for analysis grunts. Oh, I guess I have that feature turned on. This minor spoilery. Oh well. Well, I'm not getting anything from these guys. Well, this is better for now, at least. I'm only 240 speed. Okay, there's the grunt analysis. There's the swarmer analysis. Would also like a launcher, if possible. that operator, yeah. Come on, buddy. There we go, we got his hacking suite. Okay. Any day, guys. Here you are. Alright. And we're like out of hacks. That's basically everything we wanted. Take a matter pod. I got fused for that. Yeah, it is nice to get the improved flight unit ID. Well, it doesn't really matter because I'm just going to put it on no matter what when I find a prototype flight unit. These guys like to run around everywhere. Very satisfying noise. Ooh, we got 2 hackware. Ow. Let's see if we can repair something here. Nope. Alright, no launchers. It's not ideal. Is that a structural scanner? Yeah. I guess we can pick it up. We've got the storage space. I don't usually bother to use them this early. Just get a bit more matter. Alright, in we go. No exiles on this floor. We could tell because this would say that something is scanning the area over here. Oh, we've got some buddies though. Haha. This is the experimental sensor array. That's a fairly rare spawn in mines. Unfortunately, we're going Farcom, so we're not going to be using this very much. But get out of here. I need another engine. Let's carry a bad flight unit just for fun. Oh no, my buddy. At least he dropped his cool gun. I'm gonna take the early exit here because I don't really want to have to redo materials again in case we get the infested event. So assembled infesting the area. I'm sure everybody here has run into that before. Don't really want to run into that. So, like I said, either 1 prop, 1 utility, or 2 utility. I often like going for 1 prop, 1 utility, just so that I'm not overweight with the high capacity storage unit. It doesn't matter too much. 2 utilities also fine. More cannons. Let's grab this heat sink. Go better engine. engine. What is this? Particle cannon. Targeting, field laser, heavy particle. These are okay. I've got a little bit of a heat problem with these light cannons, but it's probably okay to have the targeting over this. Oh yeah, that sentry kill. These guys are great at one-shotting sentries. They're like 2/3 chance to one-shot them on core. Ooh. And these guys are gonna go blow that up. Yep. How did I know that? There's... Alright. That's cool. Killed my buddy. Alright, well that's fun. Let's try for another hackware. No. Here's the sentry analysis. That's nice. Ooh, that's not nice. Would you get out of the way? This guy is just really wants this bonk boy to get. Okay, we're just gonna get everybody in here. Let's just drop something. Probably not gonna use the particle cannon. Oh, hey Terminus. Yeah, I've preserved my run. I will be continuing that one tomorrow, but I wanted to do the new player flight Farcom type of run today. I'm not going into too much detail about materials fighting. It's not too much special. Just hide in rooms, pull back into rooms sometimes. Don't fight a bunch of... Alright, didn't need that terminal. Don't fight a bunch of guys at the same time when you can avoid it. Alright, so here's Hauler manifests. We got... Oh, there's the flight unit Hauler. He's got 6 improved flight units. That is exactly what we want. We want that guy. Gotta find him. Would you cut that out? Yeah, so I'm just like luring this guy around the corner so I don't have to... You stop. Don't have to fight him with line of sight or anything. Oh, just finds a great flight unit on the ground. Hardened light. I have support for this. We're going for Analysis Watcher. I hate these guys. Come here, you. Tired of that. This one is just not really worth using. It's only 2 plus vision. I like all of the 4 plus ones. We have shot. Of course. We're just gonna purge in case. Alright, let's see if we can do this again. Alright, we're gonna miss 2 times. There we go. I was hoping that was gonna be a safe spot. Got another hacking suite. Alright. We'll take it. Yeah, low security. This is the point where you like don't really have very much to hack for. I guess you can do enumerate transport. This will tell you all of the current hauler locations. That's fine. Oh yeah, I've got a huge storage in inventory already, Terminus. I'll swap to that whenever I have enough that I want to carry. Come on, you. No. That is storage. I can tell that because there's a sentry standing on top of it. I guess it might be mines too. It's either storage or mines. Oh. Alright, I guess there's definitely a mines or a storage here. Or a storage on this floor. A lot of guys in here. One other thing that you may see me do is turn off my engine because I don't actually need the power and it generates bonus heat. It just helps a little bit for these very heat intensive light cannons. Ooh, another hardened light. Try to repair this. That's a good value repair right there. Oh, I love to see that. Oh. No, still not what we want. That is just one mass too heavy, slightly. We can just go for the huge storage at this point, though. Oh. Love that sound. Crushing sound. There's the mines exit. Still looking for that flight unit hauler, though. Is it you? It is you. I want to carry all of these, except the faulty one. We unfortunately still have not found... Oh! There it is. Just in time. We'll be putting that on ahead of time. Yeah. So, we're gonna just hang out in the corner here. If anything comes back here, I'll just hide in the corner. I guess this guy will come in the corner. That should be long enough. Looks like the demo's won? Question mark? Could be a little bit scary, but we've got light cannons, so I'm not too worried. Walking in this room with corruption, probably not the best idea. That would have been a lot of damage. All the aftermath here. Just a regular exit. There's Exiles. Oh yeah. I think they can appear pretty much anywhere. I think the scrap is just random entirely. Ooh, we're gonna see some explosions here. It didn't kill them. That didn't kill a single one of them. That was possibly the most disappointing thing I've seen all day. So you see all of those misfires, a lot of those. We will be taking off our weapons when we go into Exiles for that specific reason. You hate to lose your Farcom. Ooh, explosive traps. You hate to lose your Farcom and your run because you accidentally misfired in Exiles. Since you can now misfire at any percent. If you used to play back in beta 10 or 11 or whatever, remember that got changed, you would only misfire. You only misfire at 5%. Now you can fire at 2%. So we get to go through the optimal tedium of removing the weapons. 7 more swarmers out of line of sight. Fusion modulators thermal? Yes, those were thermal explosions. So, take off weapons we don't really care about. Hello, Braun. Oh, I have forgotten. I had a whole mines overlay. Don't die to assembled infestation. Forgot to do this. The experimental sensor ray in scrap, which we did do, that we do not care about because we're going Farcom, but that's a really great item if you're not doing Farcom, and hide in a wall for safety. Like I could have done that if I were in a less isolated area. Exiles entrance is around the edge of the map. And for Exiles, take Farcom. This is the list of items that I will be looking for. Oh, hey Shaft, bricks broken, yeah. My bricks have been broken before, and they will be again. Take the Farcom. See what we have on offer today. This is nothing good again. I'll take the PSU rigger because this is a funny item, and I would like to show off some hopefully we'll have some funny moments with this thing. This is like okay on the list of flight items. Yeah, alert chip would be, it's very good for specific types of builds. It's really good for combat. It's really good for a particular spoilery faction that has an issue with alert. The autocannon. Yeah, we're not going to be going to the place where that's good on this run, unfortunately, MTF. This thing is pretty cool, though. Look at that damage. Totally free. 30% targeting, 24 range, 12% blast. This guy is blasting, but we can't use that. We'll be 60 mass. We'll be overweight times 2 with this thing. Yeah. Well, many new players may go there, and many new players may find the run ended in that particular place. We'll take the rigger. This is a funny item. Let's drop the sensor array. Thank you for your service. I put you on one time. Here's a very minor spoiler, but this is a cool bit of intel. The A record always tells you the depth that Zion is on. Zion's one of the first caves branch secrets that players run into. It's nice to know what depth that's on, because it means that there's something on -7 that's not Zion. That's all I'll say about that. Oh, there's the humpback. We will not equip this part. It's funny to look at, though. I haven't looked at this in a while. 200 mass, 160 coverage, 400 integrity. So we put this on, we would be 4 times overweight. We'd be at like 500 move speed right now. Don't think that's gonna happen. Oh yeah. That's a good point. This terminal right here. This terminal gives you the intel for all of these parts. It will let you identify them all, so you don't have to put them on to know. It's fun looking at B11 9-star flight units. Yeah. Terminal should be green. All of the terminals for derelicts are orange. That's just how they look. Alright, let's keep going. Well, we can maybe avoid these guys. Maybe we can't. Uh-oh. Good thing we got this. Goodbye. I am killing these guys intentionally here because I want that power unit. Don't shoot my treads. I need those. Alright, this light nuclear core is the best power to transition with. 5 mass, 9 supply. FFV7, that's a good item for new players because it lets you do a lot of things on flight that you can't normally do on flight. It's very good at supporting, I might say, bad habits of new players, but it won't support the bad habits for long. It tends to take all the damage. It's also a little bit slower than normal flight would be. Oh. Stealth treads. These guys are just looking to grab me. Alright, let's get out of here. Alright, I will remember to switch this. Maybe. So we're going into materials. -8. Search for all the logs. I could. It'd be good to do. I just don't want to optimize every single part of this run. I guess that's a good thing to mention though. If you're going around with this, the mines logs are not great, but it doesn't hurt to do that most of the time if your build is in decent condition. My build could do that, but I'm not going to maximum optimize every single floor here because it's just going to take a bunch more time, and if I'm just going for the W0 default win, I don't really care that much about trying to optimize all my play everywhere. Yeah, if you have corruption, you start losing more part IDs and everything. There could be more cool mines events, like there could be the prototype drone bay guy down here. That would be pretty cool. Yeah, you like clearing it all. I usually do if I'm doing an extended run where I care more about long-term prospects and everything. Alright, let's go. Oh, hello. How's it going, buddy? Thank you for your donation. Oh, we got it. We got the cash. These are, I think, the improved CCM ion thrusters. These are pretty nice. Pick those up in a second. Might be cooled VTOL. Oh, that would be really good too. We're gonna haul our manifests. We got no flight units, but we already got a bunch of improved flight units. That's pretty good. Alright. Let's see what our reward is. Oh, baby. These things are so good. Oh, you love to see this. cheat for a tutorial run. Yeah. I mean, I could get by on improved flight units too. These guys are a little bit slower. They actually have less energy, and the integrity's worse. A little bit slower. So the energy is, yeah, W0 in one cache. Yeah, these guys are definitely crazy. You can just do so much with these. What am I gonna drop for these? I guess I'll put on hacking suites. Place the heavy ion. Drop one of these. Alright, you know what, let's take a quick look at the plan. I didn't even mention these things because they're just insanely rare. But if you find one of these caches, you're really set. So, terminals, alert purge. This is just if you spend too long on the floor and you start getting assaults, you don't want to like lose your build too much, because when you're doing flight, you can see that I don't have very many backups that are actually relevant to my build. I have a lot of useless flight units and just a couple of backup weapons is all you really need. But if you start running into a bunch of assaults and they start tearing your build apart, you don't actually have the backups that you need for sustained combat. So purge alert, and don't stay too long if you don't have to. Manifests, like, we don't have any good flight units on this floor, except for the ones that we already found that are obviously the best, one of the best flight units in the game pretty early on. But you can get schematics, hacking suite, improved flight unit, improved VTOL module, prop shielding, utility shielding, analyses, prototypes. And let's take a quick look at the checklist to see how we're doing. We've got way more than 5 flight units. I'm going to have to drop some of these. Light ion, deuterium, or nuclear core. I've got a light nuclear core. I've got a melee weapon. It's an impact weapon, but that's fine. 2+ hackware. I've got 3 hacking suites, so that's going to be, I'm going to put, or I've got 3 hacking suites. I'm going to probably put at least one more on at the beginning of next floor, and probably have one in inventory. I've got 2 launchers. I've got no low mass kinetic guns. I'd probably pick one of those up. Those aren't really needed. You can get by with... I've got the mini grenade launcher that I might keep that on instead of the second gun, just for inventory purposes, as opposed to keeping that in inventory. It doesn't really matter too much. And I've got no small storage unit, no visual processor, no structural... Oh, I do have the structural scanner, actually. So, I'm really just golden for the next floor, so I'm just gonna hack directly for the exit and go straight there. Oh. Gotta switch back. Yeah, you want at least one melee weapon to kill watchers and green bots. Ranged weapons are generally they're pretty heavy to do decent damage, but the melee weapons have much higher damage for lower mass. Watchers do not drop the structural scanners, those are engineers. Engineers drop the structural scanner. You know what, let's go over real quick a couple of other cool green bot things. So engineers drop the structural scanner. That's really about it. A lot of the green bots drop light ion engines, which are okay for flight to use. You have the R10 processor, which you get on -6 and above. These guys drop the medium storage unit, which sometimes you want to convert to a medium storage unit. These guys have the small storage unit, but like I said before, I don't really like these too much. The mechanics, these guys have machine analyzers and recalibrators. Machine analyzer, awesome part. Recalibrator, if you're going to scan things, sometimes you might want a recalibrator to fix the good flight units. Like if you find a single prototype flight unit that's like super good, like a cooled flight unit, like the ones that I've saw, if you get one of those guys and you want to scan it to fab more and you don't want to break it, then you need a recalibrator. Anything else? It's like tunnelers. Excavators have improved terrain scanner, not very good. Seismic detector can be okay to grab from these guys. Okay, yeah. So the reinforcements, let's go over that really quickly. So engineers, if they are working, if they're trying to repair something and you hit them and you don't have a transmission jammer, they will call for reinforcements to your location or the location that they are at. So you don't want to do that. Generally not a good idea. But if you have a jammer, you can kill them. Don't care. If they're not building anything, then you don't care. You can tell pretty easily whether they're working or not because they're going to be headed somewhere at full 80 speed, and you can tell if they're making a beeline for somewhere. If you dug out something, then they're going to be doing that, going for your dugout location. But if they're just wandering around, they're just going to be hanging out, basically. You can tell from their behavior pretty easily. But yeah, no problem. Yeah, I mean, of course, this is a tutorial type of stream. Feel free to ask any questions here. Yeah, and there is a tiny alert penalty. It's like 5 alert or something per green bot. When it's really not very much unless you're killing them like by the dozens. Just exit right up there. Just head straight there. This guy does not want to cooperate. Holy cow. I don't like the looks of that squad. Please don't bonk me. Oh. That's cool. We're gonna shut that guy down. Oh. Oh. Don't bonk me. No, my targeting. I wanted that. Well, at least we shut the garrison down first. That could have been a lot worse. Let's put on the heatsink, I guess. Garrison seal work all the time. It will not work when you need it to most work. I promise you that. Oh. I saw the targeting computer and I wanted to get it. Ooh! Alright, this is worth it. We got an ECM suite. Oh, Hunter. Isn't there a secret door in here? No. I don't really want to fight that Hunter. Basic ECM. Yeah, it's so good. Also, we got the best armor in the game right here. Oh, it doesn't connect. I really gotta go all the way up there. Oh, yeah. What? Let me just take a quick look over here. How many tiles is that? 11 tiles? Surely we can make 11 tiles, right? I don't really want to go run past that heavy. Yeah, so here's the structural scanner at play. So you can see some of these guys are bright red and some of them are not. Where are you going? This guy's trying to get crushed. Where are you going? What is going on here, guys? This is a mess. Alright. We're just gonna YOLO this. I would typically not recommend doing this. But I just don't care right now. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, it was only 8. No punish. Oh, don't like that guy. Alright. Where's my... I'm out of matter. Good thing I brought this. Where's those recyclers? Come on, guys. Give me the matter. There we go. Yeah, the green bots took all the bad luck. Alright, this is fine. So I start doing my switch before I get on the next map because in factory you're on a timer and you're not on a timer here. So it just makes sense to do it before you've really got a timer going. Let's see, I'm gonna have to figure a lot out in terms of what I'm dropping. Don't need this heat sink. Don't need more than 1 armor. Probably not using the tread. Oh yeah, I do have corruption. Thank you. See, so I'm gonna go for 1 prop, 1 util. I'm thinking probably just keep these. put another cool VTOL. Get my struct scanner on. Get another hacking suite. So I've got mini grenade launcher and one more utility slots. Maybe I'll just go for another hacking suite, third hacking suite on. Oh, I've actually got 2 free slots because I'm going to drop this huge storage. Maybe I'll just keep the ECM suite on and not activate it all the time. Yeah, that seems fine. The treads. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about this. So sometimes, I'll probably drop the treads, but one thing that I like to do is in an early factory, I will carry around a pair of treads so that I can swap to it when I get into a stasis trap. So when you have treads equipped, even if you're massively overweight, you get 30 escape per move, per turn, as opposed to the 5 you get from flight. So if you're in a stasis trap, I guess it's kind of blocking the path, but it doesn't actually say that. If you're in a stasis trap, you get 4. So you have to swap the treads in, and then you get 4 moves, and then you're out. As opposed to on flight, it would take 20 moves, unless you're massively underweight and you have cooled propulsion to override or to overload. But I do have cooled prop, so that probably speaks towards just dropping the light treads. But the backup treads can be really nice in that situation, especially if you're planning on going into DSFs where there's a bunch of stasis traps. You do not want to be hanging around in a DSF waiting for the heavy to call cutters on you. Anything else? Yeah, it's a cool trick. I will admit that. I'd probably also drop this backup power. Maybe that or the rocket launcher for my last item. I've done most of my swapping, so let's just go in right here. Get my factory plan. So here you can see I'm evolving to 1462. This is my most standard evolve. Yeah, yeah, that's a good point, Cater. Backup power is probably a big way to lose the game. Yeah, I always go for the greed in my own runs, but if I'm going to do a guide stream, that's a good point that I won't drop that. It's a bad example to put forth. Okay, and drop the huge storage on the hacking suites. And this build is looking pretty good. Oh, late game, you absolutely need a backup power. When you've got 2 slots of power and you totally need both of them, you need at least 1 backup at all times. Sometimes I even carry 2 backups, depending on how vulnerable my build feels. The power ends up, especially when you've got 2 power, even with micro engines, they end up being a high percentage of your overall coverage. So let's take a look at my coverage right now. So I've got 13% in my engine, 12% in my flight units, negligible 33% in my armor, and then 12% in my weapons. So this is pretty good coverage. If I were to lose my armor, all of a sudden it looks really bad. So I like to keep my armor on at all times. You can do sensors only and no armor, and go for more hacking and more info war or something, but it's a lot more of a dangerous way to play. If you have more hacking, you can get exits quicker, you can do more schematic hacking, you can do fabs earlier, but if you get in a bad situation, you lose all of your important parts. Step into an ambush trap and cry. Yeah, play that MTF clip of him losing that proto hackware from that bonk lad. That's one of my favorites. That's just so unfortunate. You get the brawler spawning next to you, and he instantly hits the hackware. It happens every time, though. Those guys have, yeah, no util shielding. Util shielding is great. If I had one of those, I would probably not put it on at this point because I don't think these utilities are the best ever for keeping around, but it would be okay. I guess the other thing is I could just keep the PSU rigger on all the time. This thing doesn't really cost anything. Oh yeah, let's go over the plan here. So we're looking for improved light armor. If we don't have any, we already have one. Looking for micro power. We've got, which one is it? We've got the micro nuclear core is at 4, rating 4, so you can find it at this depth. So looking for that one. Later on, we'll be looking for the micro fission core, and then in research, the micro antimatter reactor. Other cool parts: fusion compressor, maybe for engine. I probably won't use one if I see it in this run, just because it's annoying to upkeep. Looking for more hackware. Kill the operators for more hackware is a good way to find some. Miscellaneous info war. A machine analyzer would be great to find. Cooling you don't need yet, and in fact this run might not need it at all with all of these cool flight units, but usually when I get my, so on I would say -4 is when I typically evolve my 6th prop and my 2nd power, and that's when I need a heatsink or a cooling device, because the 2nd engine just adds too much heat, and the 6th flight unit also adds heat. But we don't need to worry too much about that yet. Stasis canceller, that's a really cool part to find if we can get it one. I'd probably drop this rocket launcher for a variety of these parts that I'm mentioning right now. Power amplifier. So power amplifier, the base power amplifier, it's only 10%, or sorry, it's only 20%, but it's only 1 mass. So the cost of this is practically nothing except for a utility slot. But if you get two more power for free, sometimes that allows you to delay adding the 2nd power slot, because flight is very much incremental power. Like, it's just required, each one requires just a little bit more than the last one because you move faster, and the flight units all cost power individually. They all cost energy individually. And just that 20%, which is usually only 2 energy, can be enough to avoid having to get a 2nd power slot. This is super effective with a fusion compressor too, because those produce so much energy by default. You can get by on like 1.7, like one improved fusion compressor and a power amplifier on 7 flight units, because it just produces so much energy. But it's like I said, fusion compressors can be annoying to work with. So the advanced power amplifier, 30% for 3 mass. Again, pretty minimal cost. No heat generation or anything, so you don't have to worry about more cooling. And then utility shielding and propulsion shielding are the best shieldings. power is like kind of iffy. Can be okay sometimes. If you have fusion compressors, they have higher coverage, so those get hit more. The power shielding can be better in that case. And then just a bunch of various useful hacks. We're going to go for access main whenever we possibly can in this run. Let's see the structural scanner at work here. This is an interesting decision that you have to make right here. It's a direct hack for 40%, but you're definitely going to get traced, even if you do succeed. I'm probably going to say it's better to not go for that right now. If you get a failed hack in this scenario, you get traced, you get a reinforcement or investigation, I can't remember which one at the moment, and you get side effects, you get corruption, you can fry your hackware. Frying the hackware is the worst possible outcome right now. You really don't want to lose your hackware like that. Utility shielding will prevent that side effect, but we don't have any of that right now. So you can also see that the structural scanner is going to tell us where we can dig. So we can dig anywhere here. This is a one-tile dig. This would be totally safe to dig, and we wouldn't risk any cave-ins. This hunter... Oh, there's a stasis trap. I'm going to let this hunter get out of line of sight. You can launcher these guys, so you don't have to run into them. There we go, no more stasis traps down there. So here's an exit. We don't have a signal interpreter, so we don't know what that is. If this is a main exit, then the reinforcements would have come directly from here. We would have run right into them. So that's why sometimes if you don't know if there's any nearby exits or nearby garrisons, you don't want to just blindly go for a hack. Seal that. And I could use some more matter, so I'm gonna grab some. Come on. Thank you. Whether you go for haulers is an interesting decision too. So one neat thing about the haulers is if they've got prototypes in them and you attack them, they'll summon reinforcements from an OB10 controlled exit or garrison. If we attack this guy and he summons reinforcements, they're probably going to come from here if this is a main exit. And we can use that to tell that this is a main exit as opposed to a caves branch, because reinforcements will never come from a caves branch. So I'm going to attack this guy and just see what happens here. Well, he was not carrying prototypes. And we don't really care about this insulated plating. This is like okay. It's a little bit better than the light armor. Ooh. Hello, blade trap. But we're just gonna dig straight into this next room. You want to go from room to room if possible, because rooms have all the terminals. You've got all of the cool parts in them. That was a little bit unsafe to run past that guy. And here's the DSF exit. If you have not been spotted on a map yet, you can go into them. Oh, this guy just stopping by. So here's another level access. Aha! Alright, you heading out? See you, K-Tour. Thanks for hanging out. So now that we know this is a main exit, we can go through that whenever we want. I want to do a little bit of looking around just to see if there's any cool parts, and we'll go in a minute. How's this build feel? Farming 2 convoys? I don't think it will be. Fine step. How's it going? Convoys on flight are interesting. You can trap them. Like if you find out their path, you can trap the hauler and kill it. And as long as you don't get spotted by the guards, it's pretty free to just swoop in after the hauler dies from the traps and just get the loot for free. You have to deal with heavies afterwards and everything, so we're not going to be doing that here. So I'm going to drop this rocket launcher for the system shield. I like to have one system shield in my hacking stack. I'll put that on maybe next floor. We'll see. Just regular flight unit on the ground. What we're really looking for is the prototypes, although right now we've got plenty of flight units. We don't need any more. Ooh, an imp propulsion shielding is tempting. I'm not sure how we're going to fit that in this inventory right now. What I may do is take this over to the scanalyzer. Get the schematic. We can fab this later if we want to. System shield later. I guess that's also true. Yeah. Oh. Don't step on that. Yeah, alright. You sold me. I put that on. This guy's got a machine analyzer, but unfortunately I don't have a good way to loot him. We can try this. Didn't think so. Yeah. Oh well. Get rid of this guy. Don't really want to go mess with that sentry. Yeah, explosions are great for electronics. So we could keep messing around in here. Maybe go for this exit. But we kind of are pretty set. If you don't need to go and explore a lot because you feel like your build's going pretty well, then you can just take an exit. That's totally fine. I guess one interesting thing also while we're here, we can try to scan this cooled VTOL module. Yeah, so it broke, but I checked and there was a recalibrator on the ground over here. So let's just go and fix this. Here we go. Thank you. Yeah, I don't really want to step in that. Thanks. Recal good? Yeah. Turns out it is sometimes. It's kind of crazy. Oh yeah, I forgot I got some extra information over here. Fabbing flight units is great. Flight arrays, hackware armor, all of this is good stuff. And sometimes you want to take a shoot, drop into wastes. It's not a big threat on flight because those crushers are just super slow. At most you can get the corruption from the EMP, but it's not a huge deal. if you get some corruption. It's not ideal, but it's not going to end the run. But sometimes, especially on the later factory maps, you can get a crazy bad start layout, and you can just get stuck with a bunch of squads in the way, and there's no way to get around, or a heavy blocking or something. And if there's a chute nearby, you data jack the surf, and you look for chutes. If you just drop into that chute, you can reroll the map. So you can do that intentionally sometimes. Now let's go. Let's go for one prop, one util again. Put on my cooled flight, put on my prop shielding. There's another DSF. We can hack this open, but I don't know if I want to go into one of these yet. I would like to do a DSF and research just to show one off. You can see just how valuable that structural scanner is. Just I can walk through all of these emergency accesses, and I know that they're there, so I won't get surprised by anything, and it just saves me time having to dig or go out through the corridor. Ooh, light fission core is a very good engine for flight. Let's just pick one of these up too. I'll keep this over the nuclear core. I'll probably drop that at some point. There's the huge storage again. I don't think I'll be equipping that. Well, like I said, I'm dropping the nuclear core. Let's take a look. Let's go visit the Scanalyzer. Improved CCM ion thruster. These guys are cool. They're a little bit expensive on the energy side compared to improved flight units. But they're faster and have got more support. Let's keep these in inventory for now. Locate traps. Maintenance status is, I guess I don't have that one listed, but maintenance status is a sleeper hack for one of the greatest hacks. You can see 107 registered maintenance bots. So if you check this out, we can kind of see the whole map layout. You can see like there's a busy corridor over here somewhere. Bunch of bots running through this. Not very much down here. And a whole lot going on over here. Another big corridor. So you just get a bunch of intel from this hack to see where the common areas are on the map. Typically, if there's a lot of green bots around, there's also going to be a lot of combat bots around. There's the squad right here. I'm going to go the other way. There's a sentry there. So one thing that you can do sometimes is you might want to purposefully check a sentry tile. I don't think I can tell from here. No. So a lot of times these guys will stand on exits. So if I saw the exit, then I could keep that in mind. Looks like he didn't even spot me. Ooh, here's a surf pushing a disabled bot. If you see these, then it means they're pushing them to a chute. So if you follow them around, you can find a chute trap. Though we're not really looking for chutes at the moment. There's a garrison. I don't really want to do that. So unfortunately, this is right way of that patrol. If we wait around a little bit, we can see that they're coming this way. Probably don't want to go there. These are some juicy terminals, though. Those are level 1 terminals. So I'm going to take a look around and try to come back later. So here's the micro nuclear core that I was talking about. We want to pick this guy up. It's got 30 coverage as opposed to 50 coverage. Gets shot less. And we'll take this power sword over the flail, because this is better for looting green bots, and there's nothing in particular that we need to worry about digging. I'll let this guy go by. There we go. So this is an interesting question. I guess I can probably just hide this for now. It's kind of got a lot of stuff in the way of parts. Whether you take the light fission or the micro core, not sure. I usually like the micro engine just because it lasts a lot longer. But this one has 3 more energy, which is pretty significant, and the mass is pretty much the same. Yeah, I do like the light vision core as well. I will keep this for now, but I may end up swapping this for a different core, or a different engine later. The tier 6 micro engine is pretty good. So here's another level 1. I'm just gonna access main right now. Nope. So don't want to go down that way. Let's see if we can go back up to where those guys were before. Yeah, they're moving out of the way. There's an alarm trap. It's a little bit annoying. But between these two, we should be able to find the exits. There we go. And just for fun, let's check a hauler manifest. Oh man, that is a crazy hauler. I see 4 cooled VTOL modules and 3 biomechanical wings. Those are some of the best flight units in the game. All of those combined. That is win 0 in a hauler for sure. If you get one of those guys. I don't know if we're going to find him. We can check the transport status. I guess we can't check the transport status. Check the transport status for... Here we go. There's only 8 of them? So exit there, exit there, exit here. I'll see if I can hit this guy. I don't think I can get by without getting spotted though. Let's see if I can go up this way. Just for fun, I like to open these even if I'm not going to go in them. Oh, there's a fab up here. Probably not going to grab that. Nice to know that it's there. Oh yeah. Oh, there's the sentry going to come after me now. So we can try to juke him and get that hauler that was up there. But, so let's see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 unguarded haulers. So we've got a 1 in 7 chance of that being the super epic flight unit hauler. So I'm probably not going to go up for that guy just because it's a little bit dicey. Oh, there's the squad. Yeah, we're not going to be blocking this, so there's going to be some more guys hanging around too. Once this squad moves out of the way. Oh, here's that hunter. This is not an ideal corridor where it's all blocked off like this. You see that sentry who's coming after me. Let's see if we can go this way. Ah, there it is. Seal that guy. That is a fun place to be. Well, we got more hackware. I'm gonna drop one of these improved cesium ion thrusters because I don't think we need that many backup flight units right now. But I'm gonna wait around a little bit, see if these guys move out of the way. This hunter should go back in that room at some point. What is this layout? Is he coming in here? No. Look at this. It's just a little square by itself. Looks like he's going back home. No. So I do want to go down this way. I would like this patrol to get a little bit further south, and I can run by the sentry. I can try to partial spot him in a way that I don't get shot at. Let's see where this squad is going. Oh, that hunter's coming back actually. Oh, there's another alarm trap. Another option I have is to dig this way. It's a 2-tile dig, so I don't want to do this with melee, but because I have the structural scanner, I'm able to safely make this dig. Hello, Shmi. This looks a little bit better. I'm going to try to partial spot this guy, and I'm going to overload my flight units to decrease the chance that I get spotted. There you go. Did not get spotted. So he's going to come check it out right as the hunter comes in. That's a little bit annoying. I just want to get out of here. Oh. He shot me. However, I can use all of these. I guess I can't really use the engineers. They're going to block my digging attempts. I'm going to try to get out of here. I'm going to turn my ECM suite on now so that they forget about me sooner. This programmer... Oh, he tried to shoot me. This programmer would get out of the way. This is kind of terrible area to be in. I might just end up making a run for it. Ah. Stop that. So this guy's coming for me again. I'm gonna try to dig this out again. Yeah, I got a lot of guys on me right now. So this is where you just want to book it. I'm gonna overload a little bit. Not too much. But I want to get out of the firing range. If I'm lucky, I won't get shot at all. Yep. There's my exit. And nobody's around. So I just head out. What's the goal? Just going for a win 0. Build's looking pretty good though. Feeling good about this right now. Let's see, I haven't used my PSU rigger yet. I would like to at some point. It would have been a good idea to use a rigged engine to blow up these, hopefully take out that hunter or the sentry or something. Wouldn't want to have used it here because I wanted these terminals. Alright, let's just head on. Just going for 2 utility at this point. So my next evolve after this, I will probably go up to 2 power and 6 propulsion. So this is pretty much all my standard set of evolves right now. We get a terminal right away. Ooh, level 1, perfect. Exactly what we wanted. Let's see, we got anything good this floor. Oh, there's a 4X biomechanical wings hauler. It's being guarded though. Enumerates maintenance again. Get some good map intel. And we'll just leave this open, I guess. Exit over here. Exit up top. This is kind of a busy area, but I would like to go up this way because it's along the edges of the map. This one's kind of in the middle. This one's really far away. Yeah, world map. We just did a quick visit into Exiles, and then we're going to do a street shot the rest of the way. Another hacking suite. That's nice to have. Oh, there it is. Love the machine analyzer. Look at all this intel. I don't even have to walk over there. No, there's a fab there. All you gotta do is look at this machine and you just know everything around you. And I know I don't want to go over that way. Don't need a machine analyzer to tell me that. One thing I'm missing is a transmission jammer though. Yeah, I'll lock the DSFs down. Yeah, that structural scanner is what you really want to have. I guess I haven't talked about the mass support utilities. these things are a little bit weird. The lower tiers are not very effective. They're generally not super efficient in general. Like, 9 mass is better than practically every flight unit in the game as far as one slot worth, but it costs a lot of energy. 6 energy per turn is way more than even 2 more flight units. Flight units make you faster and cost less energy. These are okay to supplement your build, but generally not worth being like a primary part of your build, I would say. Now, some of the higher tier ones, like the gravity neutralizer, like this guy's pretty cool. 10 energy for 16 mass. This is okay. And there's a tier above that. I don't remember what that's called at the moment, but this is the part where I would start to consider having some kind of cooling utility available. If I can find one of those, that would be great. Component analysis suite. These things are kind of cool, but I'm not going to be carrying that around right now. Get out of here. Oh, that's a funny shoot trap location. Where might the others be located, I wonder? Are they all just in a line here? I kind of don't want to fall into a shoot right now. Alright. That's pretty funny. So here's a fabricator. Now I can build this. And the only issue is that squad is going to be right nearby. Because I'm doing an unauthorized fab. It's going to probably come right from that exit. But I think these are worth it. Ow. That hurt. Let's not go that way. I'm going to try to use a recall at this terminal. Is that a reinforcement? It's an investigation. Investigation. Nope. Let's try this one down here. Sometimes that's why it's nice to leave terminals around if you want to recall something. You know, and let's take off this ECM suite for another hacking suite. There we go. There's that investigation squad. It will not be there to intercept my fab. Is there any repair stations around here? Not seeing any. Oh, they were coming from up here. I'm gonna try to wait and sneak attack this guy. If you overload at the last second, get a high chance that he's not gonna spot you, and you can just grab him like that. Oh, how to not lose your launcher? Have a backup launcher. That's the typical suggestion. Having 2 launchers is ideal for any grounded build. Now, I don't have the luxury of space for that right now, but on flight, you really want a launcher. If you lose it, yeah, just really avoid cutters and swarmers. Now, this ECM suite is good for some of the same purposes that a launcher is, that you can outrun swarmers and then lose them very quickly as opposed to having to blow them up. But launcher is much more versatile for dealing with enemies. Let's see if we can't repair this guy. Let's do my armor first. And since I have 1% corruption, of course I can misfire my launcher at any given time. Which is always just awesome when you're wearing that all the time. I'm gonna plan on not misfiring. That's my misfire plan, is to not misfire. I guess I could have just equipped one of these guys. Let's see what this is. Okay, microfission core. This is the superior micro engine. A little bit less mass, more integrity, minor amount of more heat. Doesn't matter too much. Let's see what you have. Not much. I think my fab should be done. Let's grab that. I'm gonna get rid of my 2 damage improved flight unit for this. So I'm about to go evolve. I think I can dig this. Does this have... Yeah, it's just a chance. Here we go. This is evil. Look at this. I wonder if there's one at the last tile too. I'm not gonna risk it. Oh, you bet. Yeah. That'll happen. Yeah, MC's trying to make up for the bad traps from last run. Yeah, let's just go. I don't really have much more I want. So going for 2-6. Here it is. Very slightly generating too much heat. I'm going to turn off one of these flight units for the time being, but I'm still at a pretty sweet 22 out of 25. And this is the kind of buffer that you like to build up, that even if any of these flight units gets shot off at any given time, I'm okay to just turn an extra spare on, or even if I lose 2, I can overload to get out of the way quicker. Then I can put on a flight unit once I'm not being actively shot at. I haven't really done this run, but let's just see what this has. Oh, the part that I needed. Excellent. Excellent, excellent. This transmission jammer is exactly what you want going into research. Watchers are so obnoxious in research. This is what you love to have. Unknown protection. This is okay. We can afford to wear this for now. Ooh, graphene brace. Well, goodbye. We can afford to wear you for about 30 seconds until a better part has arrived. This is the anti-cutter part. This is the one that you put on to save your run. an ejector. I would like this. Unfortunately, the only item in my inventory that has done nothing all game and probably will continue to do nothing is the Exiles item, PSU Rigger. Yeah, reaction control system is good. I won't use any until at least improved or advanced. Were there any? No. We saw a basic one earlier, but it's not worth a slot, in my opinion. Is there anything worth giving up for this? I'd like to have this, but I'm just gonna say that the oh, there it is. Yeah, I'm not giving anything up for this, but it would be nice. The idea is to not get shot at, hopefully, though. Just improved transmission jammer. Ooh. Don't like that area. You know what I do need is a backup engine. I think it may be time. I haven't used it at all, and I continue to not see myself ever using this part. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Exile. I'm sorry, Deck. I'm gonna let you down. This backup engine is like I know I've been green for a long time, but in research, as anybody who's played this game in research knows, it's very easy to go from entirely green to entirely yellow and red within a quick few minutes in research, and this could save the run later on. PSU Rigger. Well, there's a heavy. We're gonna not go that way. PSU Rigger I do not see as saving the run, very likely. Don't need sensors. I'm gonna risk it. There we go, that was worth it. Is research ever easy? This is about as easy as it gets with this build. Like, I know exactly where to go almost instantly. Like, look at me hacking. I've got plus 40 attack or offensive bonus. I've got plus 10 defensive bonus. I've got pretty good hack stack. I've got Farcom that tells me where to go, where not to go. Don't need to have any parts equipped for that. I don't have to worry about hunters needing a signal interpreter that's a high enough tier. The only issue with Farcom is I can't enter the research branches, but I have enough hackware that I should be able to find the exits that I want to go to easily enough. So this is like the easiest build for research that I would say exists. Combat hover, I would say is good for an experienced player, but you can still on hover get some bad experiences, get a lot of bad layouts where you just have to fight a bunch of things and you don't quite have the maneuverability that flight does. Hello again, Ktor. Yeah, 5-speed setup is pretty good. just found the exit on -4. Yeah, I can definitely fight. Much better than this build can fight. Let's check out patrol status. That's easy. Alright, where are we going? Just past the behemoth, you say. Won't want to be going to that one. That one's not great. We don't really need to fab very much. We've got enough flight units. Got enough for next floor. What I do need is a heat sink. And you know what? Oh, that guy partial spotted me. He's gonna take a quick peek. We're gonna not let him see us. Hello, Watcher. Goodbye, Watcher. He's coming quite far. He knows he saw something. I'm not gonna go that way. Shoot, I was hoping to kill this grunt and maybe grab his heat sink, but that's not gonna happen. Let's see if we can grab this guy. There we go, perfect. See, overloading, amazing for sneak attacks. Beautiful, 86 to the core. Haven't taken... Oh, that's unfortunate. If we want to avoid this guy, we're either going to go all the way around, or we got to go down this way. Let's see how far we can go here. Some programmers going that way. Might try the specialist strat, see if I can show that off. There we go. So you see he has just summoned specialists instead of cutters because I was overweight at the time. This is a little bit dicey. But the exit is right there. So if these these programmers are going to go around the corner. So many watchers in the way. Oh, that guy's going. Where are you going, buddy? Going down that way? Okay. There's some hunters. This path looks pretty safe now, though, actually. Yeah, I guess that's another thing that I don't respect very much, but you can totally just sit around and wait for the security rotation, and then they will move. So, there you go, totally free exit that was extremely densely packed. Like, I could have tried to go and run through that, and I would have taken a couple of hits. Programmers would have hit me a couple times. Maybe the heavy tried to hit me, and specialists would have tried to hit me. You know, they're all just hanging out in this area, but you don't have to go and run for the exit every time just because it's there. Now, if I had a bunch of hunters following me, and I had programmers coming, and all that, then I probably would have gone just YOLO'd it, just ran straight past all those guys, but you don't need to do that a lot of the time. You can just kind of hang out, see what's happening, you don't have infinite time because the extermination squads do come eventually. But if you have a decent amount of hackware and you've got a terminal you can go back to, you can just recall those exterminations, and that gives you a lot more time to just mess around. I think I also closed that garrison, so that even gave me more time if I wanted to just sit here and wait for a good moment. So I think I'm gonna go one more prop and one more util and hope that I get a heat sink soon. Now my heat's gonna go down a little bit next floor. I should be able to do all of these, and then I'll have the imp cesium ion thruster as a backup. But before we go, let's do the research plan here. So yeah, -3 evolve to roughly 2, 7, 10, 2, which is I think what I'm about to do. Good parts, micro antimatter reactor, the best micro engine, thermal cannons for digging. I don't know if I'm going to necessarily look for those because I think the mini grenade launcher is still enough to dig and research. I have to try it out to actually see. Armor backups. I think I'm doing pretty well on armor. I haven't been taking many hits. Not too concerned about that. I do have the graphene brace for the cutter already prepared, so I'm not too worried about cutters at the moment. And power amplifier. My power is doing pretty well with these two. I might need a power amp by the time I get to access, but for now, I'm doing pretty well. Yeah, there's 2, 7, 10. Alright, let's keep going. Yeah, we're gonna get our reminder to not go into testing or quarantine in 3 hours till research. Yeah. To be fair, the first hour of that was talking. So it's 2 hours to research. So the punishment of going into testing and quarantine is fairly severe. You will, without going into too many details, let's just say there's a lot of dudes that want to shoot you. Might be worth a try if you want to, test your skill. Oh yeah, I have no doubt that I'd be able to go in and out, but I still consider the exact mechanics a little bit of a spoiler here. So I'm not gonna hop in. Plus the contents of the research branches are a little spoilery themselves. Just saying that they're testing in quarantine here. A basic win. It's still a basic win. It's still a W0. It's just a little extra. So I'm actually pretty good to support this transmission jammer now. I'll take a basic cloaking device. This doesn't hurt to have. And I don't know if there's going to be anything good. Prototype power core. Well, let's take a look. I'm going to search for prototype, power core, cooled fission. Enhanced fission, no. Enhanced nuclear core, light nuclear core. This is okay. I think this is about light nuclear. No, that was. Hang on, what was that? That was light neutrino core versus, which one do I have now? Right now I've got the light fission core. So this guy's a little bit less mass, less integrity, more coverage, less supply. I'd probably take this. This is a nice little survivability boost. I'll take one of these if I can find a scanalyzer. Ooh. I'm gonna go overweight again. Oh, that was easy. Well, we got level access. Hey. Wow, it's right there. There's one way down there. This doesn't connect. Research layouts are very often unconnected. Let's see if I have a good example here. Yeah, it's a good non-spoiler example here. So if you take a look at this research layout, there's this big gap in the middle, and it looks like this is the exact kind of layout that we've got, that there's just this big, it's kind of a horseshoe type of area that research can often form in, where it just doesn't connect in the middle. This is actually a pretty wide open area. There's often the middle connecting area is like 1 or 2 corridors wide, and you get a million guys running through there. That's just an awful scenario. This one's pretty open. I don't know what our map is like. You get a enumerate maintenance off. We could kind of tell what the overall shape of the map is. Enumerate maintenance is great in research in particular, because you can find these big open areas of the map because no green bots will be in there. The overweight trick, so if you are below, I don't remember the exact speed, but basically there's a speed limit where if you are above this speed, you will get cutters more frequently than specialists, and if you're below that speed, you will typically get specialists more than cutters. So if you go overweight while the heavy has not called reinforcements yet, you'll often trick the heavy into summoning the specialists instead of the cutters. So sometimes this doesn't work because the heavy can just, sometimes it'll like turn 1 summon the cutters on you, and there's nothing you can really do. But if you are intentionally trying to run past the heavy area and you don't mind wasting turns because there's nobody nearby and you haven't been spotted or anything, you can afford to do that. It's not always a good idea to do, but if you have the freedom to do so, it's almost always better to have specialists called after you because they're on legs. They're going to hurt a lot more if they actually hit you. But yeah, it's sneaky. This one's maybe more of a trick than a lot of the other techniques that I use. Let's see. I do have to run past a lot of tiles, and there's probably specialists coming out of one of these exits. I'm gonna try to head back over here. Oh, there they are. I'm gonna go over this way and see if I can't hit the exit from this side. Okay. It's time to find out if I can dig and research with this thing. I sure can. Okay, so this guy, I'm on -3. Let's take a look. I think this guy has 20 vision. He's got a 20 vision. Now the last tier has 22. Will enemies get sent after you from blowing up the environment? No. You do get... So, okay, there's... The only ways to get enemies called on you are like an investigation squad and a reinforcement squad from specific scenarios. Extermination squads always get sent based on time. Assaults get sent based on alert. So if you destroy enough things, you will get assaults. But it's not like if you destroy this many machines, they'll send some specific thing. It's just that everything you destroy generates alert, and if you have enough alert, they will send assaults. That's kind of the general way that works. Yeah, and then you get the investigations and reinforcements from specific activities, like getting spotted and reported by an operator, and getting traced at machines, and fabricating, all do specific investigation or reinforcement, or alarm trap, that kind of thing. So, oh, and I guess I haven't shown off, let's do this. The ruler overlay lets you measure distance. So he was right here. So 20 is just one to the left of me. So I'm safe to step out to the upper right and he can't see me. And so I can just run straight by him. Perfect. Find the exit right away. Ooh, hunters. Don't want to run past those guys. I do want to see if I can find Scanalyzer or something. Oh, I partial spotted this guy. So he's gonna come check it out. You see him chasing me. Yeah, because I would like to know what this power core is, but I'm not gonna do anything hasty if I can help it. Watcher's going away. So I can beat this guy to the terminal. Let's do an index Scanalyzers. No, I guess not. This guy's about to report me. Oh, this behemoth can almost see me, but not quite. But I'm just gonna blow up his terminal so he can't report me. Oh, there's a fabricator. That is a very unsafe fab. You do that, and the behemoth immediately shoots it. Yeah, it comes just out of range. You'll notice in research that there's a lot of these one-tile digs and two-tile digs. Having a thermal cannon over this grenade launcher would be nice, but this still works. Even though this is a rating 2 launcher, I don't need a whole lot more than that just to dig. Oh, there's the Nova Cannon, so if I put that on, then I could dig a lot better, but I don't have the mass support for this. I mean, this is 12 mass. I've only got 7 mass available. There's some guys. We're going to use our transmission jammer. Oh, he saw me. And there's a heavy over there too. But I can't really slow down because the grunts are after me. Oh, it is a light neutrino core. Look at that. We used the knowledge. Found out that it was something we wanted. This is kind of a pincer attack. I don't think I can do much about this except overload a little bit. My integrity is looking very good though, so I don't feel bad at all about overloading. So he saw me, but he's not going to get a chance to shoot at me. And I can also just ECM sweep this guy, and he's going to forget me in about two seconds. It's a thruster array. Yeah, mostly negligible. That's true. Burnout, yeah. I just don't like seeing the numbers tick down. You know, I like seeing 60 out of 60. I want to see that maximum integrity. I don't want to see 55 out of 60. Doesn't look as good. So we're not going to go for that one. So it's got the heavy on it. Do a little bit more searching around. So there's that fusion compressor that I was talking about. This thing could power our whole build right now with energy to spare. Look at this, plus 30. And a regular one, which is plus 20, which is still pretty good. But I'm not going to use it at the moment. I'm still lacking a heatsink, unfortunately. Just gonna check out this little room. I got partial spotted there. Guess that was not as safe as I thought. But I can head out now. There's not too much more I can explore without running past more dangerous guards or anything. I still feel like this build is doing very well. One thing I'm missing is an 8th prop to actually put in, so I'm going to go for 2 utilities next floor. I could pick up this impulse thruster array, but I'd have to drop something. And you can see, like, I've taken pretty much no damage except for a few minor points of burnout, since, like, that one almost kind of taking a couple damage scenario in, what was it, -5 factory or whatever. If you play carefully, you can really just avoid so much of attrition to all of your important parts like this. Now, I will say I've probably been a little bit more lucky in general today than I have been before, but this is a pretty typical type of flight experience if I'm trying to play seriously and not just speed run through the game. Like, you can just kind of avoid so much. Some of these research branches is when things get particularly hairy, but we're not going in any of those. Let's just do our 2 utility slots. Turn off the ECM suites. Put on the transmission jammer. We're now at +0. That's pretty good. And we can also just put on the graphene brace just for fun. We don't have anything else to do. I guess I could put the cloaking device on, but this thing has a fairly high coverage. I prefer not to equip this unless I'm actively using it, because if you hit like an explosive trap, this thing always dies. Like it's always tanking those explosive trap damage. Let's just take a real digging cannon right now. Got the space for it. Let's not go that way. This is the last chance for a DSF. If I do find a DSF, if I do find a DSF, I will go into it. That's exactly what's going to happen. Let's see if I can find anything else useful. Oh, stasis trap. So, I'm not super worried about stasis traps at the moment. If you overload your flight units, you do not actually take burnout unless you move. So, I can escape the stasis trap with my 20 free support, so it only takes me 5 moves. I guess I don't really want to overload all of this, but I'll just do 6 escapes. Yeah, no heat, because the heat is on the per move rather than the active upkeep. So yeah, I'll just turn these guys off. So let's take a look here. So it doubles your energy and triples your heat. So yeah, a lot of heat coming out of these guys, but only if you're moving, not if you're just sitting still. Into the DSF we go. Okay, so we have no specialist in this corner of the map, which is always nice. I'm going to once again bait out the specialists, but we don't really need to. We have the graphene brace. We could very easily run past the cutters and they won't be able to remove any of our parts. So there's the heavy. I'm gonna go overweight. So one thing to do in a DSF is you never want to walk in the center if you have to, because there are alarm traps and there are stasis traps, but only along the inside corridors here. So what that means is that if I am walking in this part where the parts are, there can't be any traps underneath them, but there might be some traps right here. And you can also dig in between these to have 0 chance of any traps. Now the only downside to that is that as soon as a tile gets broken in a DSF, there is like a 100 turn timer or something that will start deploying ARC reinforcements. But we move pretty quickly, so we should be able to get out before that happens. There's a bunch of hacking suites down there. I think our hack stack is reasonable enough. Is basic cloak enough? I don't think so. That is, like, if we were running across, like, let's say if we were going this way instead of having to go up, we would need 20, so we would need -4 vision in order to not get spotted, because this guy's got 22 vision. So if we were at -4 vision, we could dig out this tile and it would be safe to walk along here without getting spotted. So we're on -2, so this is the 22 vision one. The 20 vision one is from like -5, I think, to -3. Or maybe it's -6 to -3. So there's no way to get past that. Yeah, there's always a lot of flight units in here. Or I guess I shouldn't say always, but there's very often a lot of flight units. You can find a lot of good parts in general, just in these DSFs. So, looks like it is in this corner, so we are going to have to run straight past this guy. We do have the graphene brace, and we have armor, so he can't blast through a bunch of parts. The scariest thing about these guys is the blast, because if you don't have armor, then the overflow can go into any part. So I've had runs before where I had no armor, and he blew up like 4 or 5 low tier flight units in a row because he hit the flight units and destroyed like 2 of them directly, and then he blasted a flight unit and then like destroyed 2 more or something. It was just absolutely insane. You do not want to be messing around with these guys. So we're going to overload as much as possible, and we've got to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tiles moved, and we're going to go down to 5 speed. So we've got a 70% chance that he's not even going to see us at all. We'll see if that is true. Hold on just a second. Alright, I'm back. Leaving you all in suspense from whether we're going to get past this heavy or not. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, he saw us, but he missed. So I'm going to not go total overload. I'm going to go 3 prop overload. Oh, this is the case where you would love to have a stasis canceller. So he's going to blast us a couple more times. Blasted us from one stasis into the next. Alright, he blasted us out of the stasis. He hit me in the core that time, that's pretty good. And that's why you want to walk in these tiles. I could have gone for that. That was a little silly of me to walk in these tiles because the traps were likely to be there. I was counting on being able to make it up to this top one though, which is, it's usually, I mean, if I'm just crossing this little tiny area, it's not a high chance of having traps, but traps are always where you don't want them to be. But anyway, yeah, he's gonna try to shoot past those walls, but this guy's not have use time after his moves now. Yeah, I can do that, but I'm about to cut in and be fine. This guy's got a 10% penetration chance, so he usually just wastes time shooting through walls. It would have been safer to not... Oh yeah, there's always a dig. You can always dig out this area. It would have been a little bit safer to not count on the 90% penetration, but I wasn't worried about that. And there could be a couple more traps in here too, but I'm just gonna run. And there's even some more hacking suites. I'm gonna go grab some of those, just at least one of these, just for fun. I like having hackware. And that is how a lot of these DSFs go. Sometimes you get by and he misses you once and you're just totally free. You get no damage. I often get shot once or twice running past these guys. Sometimes you can just get totally obliterated. But the stasis is, yeah, if you get caught in there and you get a bunch of cutters or something, that can end your run if you're not prepared for it. But the graphene brace would have saved our day if that were the case. Yeah, MTF, look at this. 6 combat anti-gravs. Antimatter reactors, enhanced novas, focal shields. It looks like we didn't get the secret prototype cache in either of these. Sometimes you can get prototypes in here. They're like out of depth prototypes too, so they're super good. But we didn't get any. They're always hidden behind an emergency access. Yeah, pick it up and blast this fool. I think we will be the ones being blasted in this scenario. Yeah, none of these were really anything I wanted to pick up, but the long-range protons are neat. Enhanced novas are good. These are great hover units. Hacking suites. A lot of hacking suites. You'll love to find hacking suites. Yeah, this thing has been a champ the whole run. Even repaired it. So, there you go. That's the DSF. We're going to do our final evolution right now. I'm going to, even though I don't have a propulsion slot, I'm going to put on my 8th final propulsion. Go up to 13 utility. Alright, we got the access plan right here. Let's finish it off. Final build is exactly what I usually do. 2, 8, 13, 2. We want to look for 2 tile corridors for the exit. We do have good hacking, so I'm not worried about the energy cycler, but I will mention, because this is an important alternative, if you blow up the energy cycler, it will open the back door that you normally have to terminal hack. It does summon more assault, it summons more arcs. Summons more arcs toward you, but it's, you know, if there's only, it summons like maybe two arcs across this whole map. Access is a very large place. So, and you've got flight, so what are they going to do? Catch you? Let's put on our last hacking suite. Turn this back off. We never found a heatsink. Never found a heatsink. Oh, and pulse thruster array. Let's put that on. I'll keep it turned off, but I'll keep this. It's good to have. Arrays just have a lot of support. Yeah, this build really is the -8 cache. Like, I fabbed a couple of these cooled VTOLs. I guess I only fabbed one of them. I could have fabbed a lot more. Like, you just need one of these guys, and you're just set for the whole game. You'll notice that I just have no support. I don't need it. You've got 20 speed. You can go down to 5 speed if you want to. I've got transmission jamming. I've got ECM. Got prop armor, prop shielding, light armor, and a boatload of hacking. It makes it super easy to just avoid everything. Oh, hello. I think that's a terminal, but we will not be going to the Behemoth terminal. Heavy treads. Operator. Where is your terminal, buddy? Are we going to run directly into all of the swarmers, or are we going to run into the room with the ARC? Yep, you're going into the swarmer room. I don't think I will follow you in there. Oh, he's going into this one. That's fine. Oh, it's just that easy. It really is. Oh, it's perfect. It's even got the branch access. Very useful. Terminal intel. Let's check the manifest. Oh, okay, we got it. Holy cow, 9 tactical quantum warheads. This is prepared for 1,000,000 assaults. I could indirect at a level 2, yeah. Level 3 probably not. Not with a high percentage anyway, but yeah. It's a pretty sweet hack stack. I can't believe that we're still on basic hacking suites. We didn't find a single improved or advanced anywhere. And I don't want the reinforcements, thank you. Oh, is he going to that one? Whoops. Well, the assault left anyway. Give me machine intel. Yeah, give me everything. Oh, it's so powerful to have this many hacking suites. Just do everything. Look at this, what do I even need? I got maintenance intel. That's going to give me the whole floor map. Give me patrols. Yeah, got patrols. Okay. Where was that exit? Over here, huh? So this is the side we want to be on. This is the behemoth side. We're going to not run through the behemoths. We had a couple patrols in the way. I have to run through some of these guys. Now, if I can go along here. Oh, I know which side is which because there's always a terminal on the back side. On the behemoth side, there's no terminal. So because I got the terminal intel, if I didn't have the terminal intel, I would not be able to tell. There's also, we got the scanalyzer corner over here. Yeah, I would like to go down this way if possible. Yeah, he wrote patrols. Yeah, I saw that. I saw you were... Oh, got spotted. One step ahead of me. We're gonna ECM this guy. No thank you, sir. Well, I wonder if it connects down here. I think it doesn't. I'm gonna ECM now. I don't think the mini grenade launcher is going to carry us for this dig. Where are you? He's got his vision cut off. So I think it's roughly here. I think I'm okay to walk over this way. see him over here, but I'm not sure. Oh! He could see me. I could have overloaded. Oh well. Oh, he's gonna alert those swarmers. Yeah, it starts happening like this though. So what I want to do is let them chase me around this way. This guy's caught on. He knows I'm going this way. Like to do this. Oh man, this is kind of ugly. I'm gonna run past these guys too though. I've got my graphene brace on, so I can't get anything blasted off. That's too important. There we go. And then I'm gonna ECM these guys. And they're gonna lose me very quickly. Let's give me traps. Ooh. Oh man. That was a very potentially dangerous situation. I wonder if I dodged these. I think I went in this way. I might have stepped on this one. Anyway, let's get out of here. See ya, swarmers. I have ECM'd them, and they totally forgot me in like 2 seconds. Yeah, dodging those behemoths too. So I can do this dig. And he doesn't see me. I can't go through here though. I am gonna have to run past this guy. Oh, I may not. So check this out. I'm gonna hop right over. He did see me. Okay. Sometimes if you've got a green bot right here, you can hop directly over them and never even get a chance to get partial spotted. Yeah, that is the other side. You have to get through 4 of these barriers, and then you have to get through the shell over here. But over here, we've got this terminal, 57%, pretty good. There's the exit. Alright, double check my upload is on. Check the build. Yeah, our armor took a bit of a beating at the end there. But pretty good run altogether. Feel pretty good about that one. Yeah, I think this is a pretty good demonstration of what's possible here for flight. How you should play it. I only really got spotted a couple of times. Pretty good stealth throughout. Obviously running past that heavy was a little dicey, getting blasted into the stasis, but and then getting spotted by that swarmer. I could have tried to overload to avoid that behemoth. That would have been a good play. And then I knew that that watcher was going to spot me, but he'd already spotted me by the time that Farcom picked it up. So this is a scenario where having the vision would have been nice. If I had the +6 vision, it could have been like right here and said, oh, there's a watcher there. I could have ducked into this room, and then I could have avoided being spotted altogether. This probably connects down here, and I would have had no swarmers shooting at me. I could have not had the behemoth see me at all if I'd overloaded. I guess it's more of a steeper angle than I thought that blocks him off. But yeah, GG. Thanks everybody for watching. Let's end this run. Subspace repairs. Thanks for my first win. Yeah, I know. 1,000 hours and haven't managed to beat the game until just now. Here we go. Look at that sick 15k score. 3,800 bonus, huh? Well, let's check it out. What was the bonus? Let's pull up data miner. $11k turns, 69 actions per minute. 112 bots destroyed. I guess that was all in materials, huh? 4% corruption. Pretty good stealth. Pretty good number, yeah. Pretty low turn count all around. Most is -6 factor. I think that was the time that I was just waiting around for those guys to get out of the way. Pretty straight shot route after the mines and a DSF just for fun. That was a good move, I think, overall. Especially if you've got regular sensors and not Farcom, because the hunters, you don't, unless you've got the experimental signal interpreter, the hunters are going to get you. Farcom lets you detect those hunters, but it's very easy for a -2 to become a long drawn out map where you just got too many guys blocking the path. You got to run past them at some point. So yeah, in research DSFs, if you can pull it off, very good idea to do so to avoid having to do a whole research map, because that's where it starts getting really tricky. We got like as many moves on treads as we do on flight. Let's see. Anything else interesting here? It's a good W1 win. Well, W1 is pretty much the same, except you need to do. Or, oh no, that's not. That's a W2 I'm thinking of. W1 is combat. Gotta do some combat for that. Yeah, that's the +1. 63% hacking skills, pretty good. 73 successful hacks. The one recycling unit that I bothered to check, advanced transmission jammer. Fab, one cooled VTOL module. I didn't show it off, but you can also fab and then just visit another area of the map, wait for the investigation to return. You don't have to recall it yourself. And you can also just sneak past the investigation. Like if they're in that area They're not going to be on top of the fab all the time. Sometimes you can dig in and grab it and leave, or sometimes you can just have them chase you around the fab or something, and you don't have to get shot at. That's ideal. Slightly level 1 alert. Let's check out the analysis. Hacks level access points plus 329%. And maintenance status. Yeah, nobody's going to be doing that many access main hacks that much. That was a lot of them. Yeah, maintenance status record 3. That one deserves more than 3, I'd say. It's a pretty good hack. But alright, that'll be it for me. Thanks everybody for watching. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for hanging out. It was a good time. I will try to finish that other run tomorrow. Maybe same time. Yeah, I probably want to start around the same time, early morning tomorrow. And yeah, thanks everybody. See ya.